Hello and welcome to What the F*** Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditis. Let's get to it. It's Thursday, July 1st, 2021. Welcome to day 163. The Supreme Court upheld a pair of restrictive election laws in Arizona, overturning a lower court ruling that found that the laws discriminated against minority voters. The Arizona laws invalidate ballots that are cast in the wrong precinct and ban the practice known as ballot harvesting, in which third-party community groups or campaigns collect and return other people's ballots. Democrats argued that the data showed the restrictions disproportionately affected voters of color, which would be a violation of the Voting Rights Act. Writing for the majority, Justice Samuel Alito said the law requires equal openness to the voting process and that a mere inconvenience cannot be enough to demonstrate a violation of the law. Moving on, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office charged the Trump Organization with a 15-year-long scheme to defraud the government and charged its chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, with grand larceny and tax fraud. Weisselberg allegedly avoided paying taxes on $1.7 million in off-the-books compensation, including apartment rent, car payments, and school tuition. In total, 15 criminal charges were filed against Weisselberg, including counts of conspiracy, grand larceny, criminal tax fraud, and falsifying business records. Grand larceny in the second degree carries a maximum sentence of 15 years in prison. General Counsel for the District Attorney Carrie Dunn said, to put it bluntly, this was a sweeping and audacious illegal payment scheme. Dunn added that the scheme to get secret pay raises while not paying taxes was orchestrated by the most senior executives. The Trump Organization issued a statement claiming that Weisselberg was being used as a pawn in a scorched earth attempt to harm the former president. Weisselberg pleaded not guilty, as did an attorney on the Trump Organization's behalf. Trump himself was not charged. Meanwhile, 130 countries endorsed setting a 15% global minimum corporate tax rate. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development said the agreement on taxing global companies in countries where their goods or services are sold, even if they have no physical presence there, would generate an estimated $150 billion in additional tax revenue each year. Joe Biden said multinational corporations will no longer be able to pit countries against one another in a bid to push tax rates down and protect their profits at the expense of public revenue. They will no longer be able to avoid paying their fair share by hiding profits generated in the United States or any other country in lower tax jurisdictions. This will level the playing field and make America more competitive. Back in D.C., Nancy Pelosi appointed Republican Representative Liz Cheney to the House Select Committee to investigate the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. In May, House Republicans removed Cheney from her leadership role because of her vote to impeach Trump, as well as her continued criticism of Trump's repeated lies that the 2020 election was stolen from him. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, however, threatened to strip any Republican member of their committee assignments if they accepted an offer to serve on the committee. And finally, the Supreme Court struck down a California law that required charities and nonprofits to disclose their top donors. Under the law, the tax-exempt groups were required to report the names and addresses of all donors who gave more than $5,000 or 2% of the organization's total donations. Conservative groups challenged the state's disclosure requirements, saying the information was protected under the First Amendment's freedom of association and that the disclosure could lead to harassment. California, meanwhile, said the state attorney general needed the information to investigate complaints of charitable fraud and self-dealing. That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Amditis.